What a great conversation with two musicians I really, really admire. Thanks for tuning into this one. This is Your Worst Song. And the guests this time are the two defining and dominant forces in Cali Horse, one of the best local bands around. It's a very long, sprawling conversation. We get into talking about art and we get into talking about how your career can change, the difficulties you have on tour, all of these things that feed into your identity of being a musician and how that identity suits you. Additionally, many other identities that we talk about, but we really cover everything. This could be almost a I think no matter who you are, if you listen to this and you're interested in music or you're interested in the way the audience relates to music, or just the inner workings of Toronto music, this is going to be one you want to listen to. I think everybody's going to find something they enjoy or find a little nugget. So, I'm Alex Southey. Thanks for listening. And this is Your Worst Song. You have been requested, by the way, I have to add, many times. Yeah.
Oh,
So I'd love to, for the people who don't know you, listening to this podcast, probably very few, uh, do you want to talk a bit about maybe, I know this is an impossible question that every band and artist hates, but just if you could throw out the most basic version of your genre, like what would you guys say you are? Cali Horse.
sorry to, is there a way that I'm trying to just see if I can see all three of our screens at
Oh,
once.
sure. I'm not
Oh, I
sure.
Feel like
can. I figured it out. I
okay.
figured it
Okay.
out. Des, do you want to do it or do you want me to?
I don't mind. I mean, like songwriter, we're a songwriter producer duo, and I would say we're sonic explorers with roots in psychedelic rock, but also in so many other places. And I feel like people mostly know our work from the psychedelic scene because we were Kaleidoscope Horse before, which was a little bit more purely psychedelic. I feel like we're kind of branching off into new sonic territory recently. So we're kind of in a transitional period genre wise. I would
Okay.
say.
Yeah, fair enough. No, I think that's about right from what I can recall. But that's so interesting because I'd heard about the previous iteration of the band before, but then I only sort of became aware of you both when you were Cali Horse. So I'm so curious, like, can you talk about why the change? What's the you we also don't have to. I'm just curious what the
Yeah.
backstory is.
Yeah. Me and Des met when we were like uh 20, I think. And we met at school and for like a music production program that was like an 8 month kind of crash course and like a bunch of stuff. And so when
I
we
did not
started
want to
writing,
go.
yeah, I'm so thankful for Dez's mom, Jo, who I love dearly, but like forced Des to like go attend this thing. And I'm like Des was living in Mississauga at the time, and I was from like a place called Enniskillen with an E, not
Not
the
an
wine
I.
place,
Right,
not the
exactly. Okay.
I. And it's like about like 2-ish hours away, like east, a little north, like in the sticks. And I
Hmm.
was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do after school. Really, like I was pretty like I just knew I wanted to do like music, I think. But then I got like Cubase on my old PC, like
I don't know what that
computer.
is. What Cubase?
Cubase is like a PC
Garage
DAW,
band.
like a
Oh,
digital audio or interface or whatever DAW stands for.
yeah, yeah.
All the tech dudes say it.
Yeah, exactly. There are a
DAW.
bunch of people listening to this right now
DAW,
screaming the
dude.
answer. Uh,
DAW. Oh my god.
They're
Digital audio
dying to
workspace.
mansplain.
Digital audio workspace.
Nice.
okay.
There. I got
Yeah.
it. Okay. Sorry, not to you. I'm saying that was directed at the people that were wanting to mansplain me.
No, I
Sorry.
gotcha.
We'll get into that another time. But
Sure.
Yeah, so Cubase is just like Logic or Pro Tools, anything like that. And so I got into that, and then I was like, I secretly like wanted to play music like live, but I was really afraid, and I was like, I'll just be behind the scenes, and like because I love like sounds and doing production and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
And then when me and Des met, we started writing songs together like instantly, and we hung out the first day that we met, and then we pretty much did not stop hanging out for how many years?
Like 11 years. It'll be 11 years in September.
11
Wow.
years. So
What,
when we
what's
started,
really
yeah.
what's really funny to me is that on the first day that Sam and I met, she asked me if I smoked weed, and I said yes, which was a total lie. Because I
It
had
was
only smoked
then.
weed. I had only smoked weed twice in my life.
Yeah.
And I said yes, and she got me mad stone. And the thing, I will say this with the
I'm
utmost
a
like
bad influence.
respect and admiration for Sam, that she really did not know a lot, like musically,
Mm.
technically.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So the choices that she made were genuinely so bizarre that it could only be it's like a fool's inspiration. Like it was just like,
I know
what
what
are
you
you
mean.
doing? Why are you doing that? And I was hooked from day one, and really that hasn't stopped. So
No, that's a
And then Des
fantastic
was like,
source of interesting musical avenues you can go down because
yeah.
you're not necessarily pulling from that same wide pool of the last 60 years that all of us are, you know?
Yeah, no, Des had like been performing in bands since she was like 14, I think, or younger even maybe. Like you were like in musical school productions and stuff, and I like quit music class after grade 9 because I didn't get along with my teacher. And then like I never took drama, even though I secretly wanted to do all those things. I was like oppressing myself like so hard.
Yes, you were waiting for like your
And
self-confidence
and
to
then when
catch
I'm
up for your
yeah.
dreams, basically.
And I met
Yeah.
Des, and she was just like, hello, and like did not give a shit, would like sing everywhere, was like just like literally like so many things that I just like aspired to be, and I became like instantly obsessed with her, and I haven't let her leave since.
Oh, well, that's great. You guys are basically describing like friend soulmates. I love,
Yeah,
yeah, I love
but
that.
it's cool because the first time we hung out, we made music though, so that's where it's always been from. And then so to get back onto like what happened with Kaleidoscope Force and kind of how that went, we were writing together for I don't know, like 2 or 3 years maybe, playing together. And like when I say writing and playing together, it was just like us wanting to do things and go be like wild. There was no like clear like the delusions like were high
Yeah.
in like the
I was
best way
playing
possible, that
I
I'm
was
trying
playing
to
a
like
tom.
find that. Yeah, you were playing a tom drum, and like I'm trying to find a little bit more of that delusion again, actually, like in this point, which makes sense, like almost a decade later. It's like
Yeah.
where, just finding that kind of innocent delusion in like creating and stuff. But
I've
so
talked
that's
a bit
kind of,
about
yeah.
I've talked a bit about exactly that a few times on the podcast with other people. Like, I think at that age you're describing, as loosely, you need to, even if you are legitimately like better than your peers at that time, you still need to be almost delusionally confident in your ideas to propel you to the point that your skills match with your ideas eventually.
Yes,
But you,
totally.
We have always written above
right.
what we're capable of. Always, always, always. That's true to this day. I cannot play half the shit we write. Like that's straight up true.
Same.
It's a miracle when we pull it off live. I mean, In the Water, for instance, that's a single we released a long time ago now. And I
Yeah.
mean, I think we've achieved it live to our standard once. So,
Oh my
In
God.
and like,
terms of like it being exactly like the timing of the vocals with the recording and
and the
everything, and like
pitch.
and the pitch. Okay, so the thing is that I made like a loop drone on like my RC30 like loop pedal, and just with this reverse pedal I have, made all these drones. And then we were like, oh, this then just the in the box like beat on the RC30, which is like do tick 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 tick, and then we
Yeah.
affected that in our own way. And then our buddy like Kyle McDonald, who played drums all on Stole, like some type of Electric Lagoon, our like last record. He played drums on it, and we were like just freestyle, and he did literally the coolest thing. Like, like I'm obsessed with his brain and his creativity. So it was when I pulled up the tuner to tune like what this drone was in, it was like almost like 50 cents sharp E.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, oh, I have to tune the bass to this. And then we sang everything to it. And then in order to play along to the backtrack, and because if we sing it in like the regular E, like if it was in tune, it doesn't sound the same.
Right. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
to us, like, I mean, I don't think it does at all.
Sam, I don't think we've ever used this word to describe this song before, but I guess it's microtonal.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Now I can add that keyword to my Spotify description. Hell yeah. Perfect.
Immediately the King Giz fans are like, that's not microtonal.
And that's not microtonal. That's 2 cents off of microtonal. See, and the thing is, it's funny, like going back to like how I'm even talking, knowing what that even means, like cents in an E being sharp.
Right.
Like when me and Des first met, like I didn't know anything, like literally any musical theory. Like I literally knew nothing. I could sing, like, but I couldn't really sing. Like,
okay, to be fair,
I got better with Des.
Sam, you weren't singing. What were you doing?
No, I wasn't even doing that. No, we're not revealing that. No, I used to okay, fine. All right. Well, I used to rap a bit, but not in like, I liked the fast words. I liked the fast words.
Way. It was like an indie.
But I love hip hop. I just it was
like
cringy.
One opportunity. One
No,
chance.
no, it was like Mom Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Mom Spaghetti. Mom Spaghetti. I can't freestyle. One time I got stuck on a freestyle. Okay, just this quick shout out. I'm 2 years sober from alcohol.
Shout out.
But one time I was so wasted, I couldn't stop just saying raccoon, raccoon, raccoon in this freestyle. Like, I don't know what was wrong with me, and Des never lets me live it down. And that's why I gave up the crown, that's why I gave up.
Right.
I had to retire because
you did it for the scene to grow. With you there, nobody had the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to be a psych rocker, I guess, instead.
I feel like depending on if we think about that legitimately, if you were doing like a light indie version of rap or whatever, as you were saying too, it might not be the most out of place thing for some of the music you make now. It might actually.
It's true.
Like Pavement had that just guy in the background who'd fucking yell. You guys could have a version of that, and
That's true.
It's a bit of rap,
It all comes full circle.
It's honestly, we even do have like I like still like singing like fast parts,
right?
Too.
Staccato, rhythmic kind of stuff.
Yeah. Like a word on like every beat. Like it still does translate into it. I just
oh my gosh,
everything I did was cringy. Yes,
I just realized. So this podcast is called
Your Worst Song.
Your Worst Song, and I've been since we've been talking about doing this, I've been like trying to think of what our worst song is.
Yeah, me too.
I think that I just realized what I think it might be.
Okay.
But is it out on streaming?
Yeah, is it out streaming? No.
Oh, does it have to be out?
Yeah, I think it has to be out.
People need to
so that people can hear it.
Exactly. I mean, you can always
leak it.
Yeah, at least
leak it. What? Oh no, like. Right. Okay, maybe we'll get there. We'll dissect that. But like I guess to try to like continue the question. Oh yeah, so singing. What were we?
Well, we were talking about kaleidoscope. We were trying to tell Alex.
We were trying to tell Alex why we are here now. And so then we were exploring for a few years musically and everything that we'd be doing. And we actually went to school with Kyle, like McDonald, who played drums.
Yeah.
And he had a brother, Sean, and a best friend who was like their brother, like Taylor Barber, and then Sean McDonald. And then we all just started, we were like, they were already banned and still are, called the Feverish Lemons.
Shout out.
Okay.
Shout out. And they just released a record recently, and it's really awesome, and I love them. Like, we love them so much. Yeah. So they joined the band, and then we kind of all just like became like just, I don't know, like tornado of trying to be a full band with like
Right.
all equal parts of like creative like
Yeah.
drive. Because when you're young, I don't know, I feel like it takes a while maybe to learn that if you do like to do that more on your own or in a smaller case of
Definitely,
like
I
in
think.
terms of the writing part. So it's very crucial to like be part of like communal like songs and create it and collaborations. It was crucial, and all of the
We
guys are
also
like
learned,
amazing singers, and they
we learned
harmonize
so much
like
about
wild. So
music.
that's how I learned how to harmonize. I didn't know how to before I met those four. So we
I'm
were
just imagining
kaleidoscope
all
for.
of you like the Eagles practicing backstage. Just I don't
It
know.
was
I
a little
especially
more, it was a little more Fleetwood Mac.
okay. Okay.
In many senses of that statement.
Oh boy.
We really loved each other a lot, and we were really emotional people. I mean, we all still are, and it just got
Yeah, we
really
are. Yeah.
hectic to the point where Sam and I realized that we wanted to reinstate the connection that Sam and I had made through songwriting, and we wanted to refocus the project to be on that. At the same time, the guys were in a transitional period. They decided they wanted to move to Niagara, move into a house together, kind of do the whole thing there. So positionally, it just worked
It was
out. We wanted
natural.
different things, and it
Yeah.
it was
Okay.
hard, but
Okay,
it
so I
was
think
hard. Yeah.
I think I misunderstood initially. So what you're saying is basically you were Kaleidoscope Horse. It began just the two of you. Then you met these other guys, the Feverish Lemons, right? Feverish Lemons. And they joined you. It was still called Kaleidoscope Horse. And then when they left was when you felt it made sense to change the name.
To change,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Because we had spent how many years together? 6 years. So we have a record out on Spotify still under Kaleidoscope Horse called Slow Slow. And so
I love that record.
And then like we actually ended up re-recording the entire thing too, which is wild. So like we just had a lot of like we were
Taylor
very
Swift over here.
yeah. And then so after that, and after we had to make the break, which was hard, like we wanted, I think everyone like for a while wanted to make it work, but then me and Des just realized like we just care so much about like our connection, and we just wanted to get back to that. So then we were like, well, we don't want to completely like leave that identity because we still are like so strongly connected to it and stuff in a way that just didn't feel right at the time to let go of, and still doesn't.
It was still dominated by your connection and personalities. So like, why completely leave it behind is the idea, right?
Yeah, and people called us Cali Horse and stuff, and then we were like,
that was something else that confused me. Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's good to know.
Honestly, nobody can spell kaleidoscope, so it just
no.
It also, kaleidoscope is very kind of stereotypically psychedelic, I would say. Like people really, associate
immediately people, yes.
Yeah, they associate that
you
word
would.
with a sound, and we wanted something that was a little shorter,
ominous, and a little more
to spell, but also just very transparent about the fact that we're changeable. And we didn't want it to be so obvious about what it sounded like from the name, and I think that worked.
It definitely works because horse becomes the dominant section of the name, in my opinion, and you wonder about Cali, whereas before Kaleidoscope Horse, it's like who gives a fuck about horse? This is Kaleidoscope. That's the personality. No, it makes sense.
Totally. It's so true, because then we were just like went back onto the horse. Yeah, for sure.
Back onto the
horse. I
horse.
mean, people still all the time, if it's loud in the club, in the club, like I do not go like I mean in like
Stop
music
forcing
venues and
rap
stuff.
into your band. Okay.
Uh, people still think I'm saying Cali whores, and I'm
Of
like,
course.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
And
sex
I don't
workers.
know how else to say it. Yeah, I don't know
It's
how else to say it.
whatever.
And I'm like, yeah, you can think whatever.
That's a
People call Billie
crazy different
Eilish
name.
Billie Eyelash, so it's like
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eyelash.
like it's fine.
True. Same thing. Tomato, tomato.
Yeah, exactly.
What's a whore to an eyelash? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that thing they always say. Yeah. Well, let's get into the first question then. I want to hear about what your worst live experience is, if one springs to mind. And actually, the episode isn't out yet, but the one that's coming Monday, the person revealed enough where I was like, "Do you want me to bleep these names?" And it was not. He asked me not to, so that's
Nice.
yeah, some drama.
Nice.
So anyway, well, I don't need drama. I'm just stating the bar.
Well, I mean, I'll go first because I'm assuming that they're probably going to be different experiences between Sam
Yeah.
and I. And I mean, we're talking about like with like, can I
Tally horse.
it was with Kaleidoscope Horse. Can
That's up to you in this case.
But sure, I'm gonna try to do Cali horse, but
do I even
go for it.
remember like Cali Horse? Like Cali Horse has been so good, like so it's hard for me. I mean, we've had terrible sound checks, but like performances, I don't necessarily.
Well, it doesn't need to be
know.
performance. It could be stuff around the performance. It could be,
Like
yeah, the
weird
sound check was
stuff,
bad,
yeah.
or the weather was awful, or we got there late and then the show was supposed to be canceled, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah. Do you want me to go first
Yeah,
and you
sure,
can think of one, Des?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was like a couple of years ago. And I think it was like our first possibly couple out of town shows as Cali Horse. Like not as musicians, just as Cali Horse. And we played this festival, which is amazing, and we love these people. Oh, it's called
Winter
you
Song.
remember what it's called? Winter Song, yeah.
Okay.
By our friend Heather, who we love so much. And they dealt with it and they like got this guy, like I don't know if he got whatever. Anyways, I'm just giving a backstory so that all these people are very sweet. Okay. This has nothing to do with the festival.
I can vouch. I know Heather now too, and she's incredible.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We love Heather so much. Yeah. And so they hired like a sound or like a production company to bring in all the speakers and everything, and then a sound guy comes with it that I'm assuming like lived in one of the boxes like of that was under a dusty old bridge.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so we're doing this sound check, and he's being so aggressive to me for literally like no reason. And I have like in-ears, and I'm just like, this makes the job for the sound person way easier for me to just have in-ears, because then they're not trying to boost my vocals in the monitors and there's like no feedback. So I don't really know what so many people have not given us any trouble for these and are like, great. Right. In-ears are great. He's like blasting the in-ears at like 100 to like where it's distorting. And I'm like, can you like turn it down? And he's just like not listening to me. And then he's being so just, I don't know, like micro aggressive to me about, I honestly can't even fully remember, but I went up to him and
you're talking about how we like brought our amps on stage and we asked because
that was it. Cause there was so many amps across the stage. And I went up to him and I was like, is there somewhere you want me to put my amp? Like that's a normal question to ask. Yeah, like specific. And he was like, anywhere you want. Clearly you can see.
No,
that's
what he
how
said
it started.
Was, if you want me to explain to you the science of amplification,
Jesus.
I can, but you can put it wherever you want for now.
And I was like, okay. So then after that, I went up, like he was doing stuff and he like wouldn't look at me in the eyes. Like, I don't know who I reminded him of and what triggered me about him. Yeah, I reminded him of his mom.
Yeah.
And I went up to him and I was like, hey, I'm sorry. I don't know if I did something to offend you unknowingly, but like, I don't know why this feels weird. I really don't want it to. And are we okay? I mean, I have to confront it because I'm like, this person's
I'm
like, I
very
don't want
impressed you did.
weird.
No, that's
I
good.
mean, yeah. And
It's the better option. You're just trying to just be like, let's get past it.
Let's get past this. And then he's like, he literally stood up, like turned away from me and walked away, like said nothing. And I was like, and then it's like literally, I don't know what I'm doing that's bothering this person so much.
Yeah,
wow. And
meanwhile,
so it just escalated.
Meanwhile, Sam, you couldn't get your guitar open.
Oh yeah, because I was borrowing my friend Shermie's guitar. I didn't know the code, and I couldn't get the guitar case open before. So I forgot. But then somehow I got like the code. Like I don't know. I honestly don't even remember. Like some sort of beam of light came down and whispered it in my ear, and it opened up the code. And then so I was already stressed and everything, and then add on to it that it's like a Halloween show. So we're wearing our like 10-pound, like massive lagoon creature garment.
Right.
And then I'm just like sweating, getting this guitar, and this sound guy just hates me for some reason. And then, he just continued to ignore me the entire time, anytime I asked him for anything. And then I mean, that stuff does get to me. Like I cried after, I'm a sensitive person.
Well,
but I also know that I know I can like not be perfect all the time. I mean, I take that back. I know I can be spicy sometimes. Like, but I wasn't being anything particular in those times. And he was being so like, and then it made me just get upset. And then that was that. That was probably the worst show we've ever played. And then it was so bizarre. The next day, in the next out of town show, there was a sound guy, and it was a younger person. And this other guy was older. So I was like, okay. And this person was younger. And I was like, okay, this should be good. And I like sing quietly in moments. Like there's dynamics of, So when I check, we check the loudest song where my vocals like are the quietest.
That's pretty standard, I feel like.
And I just kept being like, can you just turn up my in-ears? Because I have like control of the volume, and if you could give more. And I was like, I still can't hear myself. And I was like singing, and the sound guy gets down from the soundboard, comes over, grabs my personal microphone and yells into it, screams into it, into my left ear, starts ringing. I still don't know his name, but karma will come.
So he yelled into it to prove a point.
To prove that I was singing too quietly.
Oh my
God. And that you could hear it.
What a 1-2 punch.
And I literally pretty much instantly started crying, not to his knowledge, but then like that was like the worst string of shows.
It was also a 20-minute sound check before doors. Like it was.
And he was honestly like really slacking on the stage management aspect of when it's a DIY space. If you're the sound person, you're kind of doing the stage managing too, because we were supposed to get a lot longer sound check, but he took a very long time. Obviously, he was very stressed and upset in his life to do that. And I do hope he genuinely thought about that and doesn't do that again. But it was like, that time I was like, I didn't know, like, and then after that series of shows, I went on tour with another band I was playing in at the time, playing drums, called the Surfadettes, who I love dearly. Check them out. All female surf instrumental. They're really amazing. And I went on tour almost instantly after that. And I remember saying I was so depressed after those shows. I was like, just in my worst thoughts. And that tour was so hard, I remember too. Like, so, but that was a huge lesson for me. Like, I can't let things like that affect me to that degree. Or like, I think I'm learning now to feel less bad about like what I know, like trusting, like I know what I'm talking about. and
it's
I'm not
his problem or
wrong
their
all the
problem.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. What's so frustrating? Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I also think that when you're on tour, like you're going to come across people you don't like, people you don't get along with. We're all there to like get a job done. And if somebody else is making your job harder, it is 100% okay to stand up for yourself. I feel like as long as you're not, swearing at somebody and like making it a bigger issue than it is. But if somebody's genuinely getting in the way of you doing your job, they need to know that, because it is everybody's job in any situation to make everybody's job easier and to work together, to cooperate, to put on a good show. I mean, I say this all the time, like we have the best job in the world. And anybody that is not grateful to be there, to be doing this, to put on a freaking show.
People dream of having your job. These are their dream jobs. And they're doing it,
Literally. And so I don't understand why people just don't have more gratitude and joy. I mean, again, it's like any job. I get it. You're underpaid, you're overworked, you haven't eaten, you know what I mean? Like, yes, you have to, but you have to take care of yourself. You have to figure out what you need, and you have to serve the show. I mean, like we all are serving the show. I know that people think that like artists just get to do this thing, but I mean, it's a lot of work. Like it's really vulnerable. It's like you work really hard to get to do this thing, and then this sound person is in charge of what the audience gets to receive after you've worked for so long to do this one thing.
And to give like a visual of like how I go in and approach shows, I walk up and I instantly introduce myself to the sound person. Like I talk to them, like, cause I also did sound before. I've been working in music venues for 10 years. I genuinely don't go in with the stigma of, because there's also so many new sound people now in it that I've had so many good experiences like recently, like in the last few years. But like we're very polite and we're very communicative with people. And sometimes they're just not down.
The thing that's so frustrating about this too is like, I think anybody who's empathetic can understand if somebody has a bad moment, but it's the idea that you tried like twice to go up to this, talking about the first person, that you tried to go up to them and squash it. Like, depending on how bad it is, I won't necessarily fault somebody for if they come back and are like, I'm sorry, that was embarrassing and stupid and blah, 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 right? But the fact that this person sort of like doubled down and then the next day, like, you're saying that it was a lesson to learn, that it's that there are these people out there and whatever, but I mean, I don't know, it's sort of a shitty lesson to have to
I
learn.
actually just remembered something too, which actually is really funny and kind of came full circle, which is kind of just being a woman and being queer. And I mean, I go by she, they, so I have a connection to like a non-binary part of myself too. I've had to like just prove people wrong with just being myself sometimes and not saying anything, because after the show, he didn't talk to me, but he went up to Des and he was like, that was really fucking awesome, or whatever he said. And he was totally like gushing about it. And I just was like, honestly, that was kind of my like, I was just like, you're a worm.
It's so funny you said worm, because I was just thinking like, what a fucking sniveling creature, just like coming up and yeah,
I completely forgot about that aspect of it too.
Such a greasy feeling too, because for me, like,
I know,
I said thank you. I said thanks for making it sound good, because that was his job and he did his job. You know what I mean? So I thanked him, and I recorded him.
Good.
Well, you thank them and then you report them.
Good. Well, earlier on, and we don't need to, you kind of just talked about it with an example, but earlier on you made a comment about the mansplaining, and I had another guest on here before, Loviette, Nat, and she had talked about her experience dealing with that, just kind of as usually the only woman in the room, especially if they're recording. So I guess I'm bringing it up because it's related to what we just talked about. But did you want to say more about that, or?
Yeah, well, I mean,
it feeds into this worst.
Yeah, well, in this specific situation, for instance, like we were the only Sam, myself, and Cassandra, our bandmate, had, we were the only non-men
Right.
performing
present
at the time. So it was interesting watching
for the sound check.
Yeah, it was interesting watching this person treat not only the like other male musicians better than us, but literally the men in our own band better.
Yeah, that's pretty.
But luckily, like Brandon, our drummer, who's also like we co-produce all of our new stuff with him that we've been working on at his studio. Because he was like, he did it in like such a classy way where he was just like shrugging him off and just being like, but he could so clearly, you could see the wheels turn too, because it's just like, it's actually unbelievable sometimes when you see it, and the starking contrast was shocking to them, and it was like,
wait, you mean between how he treated
our two guy bandmates and then us. It was like so bizarre. So yeah, that was the thing. And then kind of like going back to like the recording and like kind of that environment, like that's why we like recording ourselves, and we record with Brandon, and we record in very intimate settings, because we aren't the type of artists, at least like we could go in and do a session in a music like studio and stuff, but our favorite way of creating is when we feel like really safe and really comfortable.
You could be uninhibited. And that's
crucial.
That way. Yeah.
Recording is so crucial for that. Like live, so you can push past it, and you can then connect with like the people that come, and you don't think about that person. But in writing and recording sessions, like we pretty much try to avoid feeling uncomfortable. I mean, there's definitely
there's
moments.
Natural discomfort.
There's natural discomfort of creating, but not just for like being. Look, I'm never thinking like I'm a woman, like in the studio when we're recording. Like I'm not thinking I'm a genderless, ambiguous being. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I'm like not thinking about. I'm trying not to think about my bodily like.
Yeah, your stress should just come from music stuff. It should just come from getting the right note, whatever. Caring a lot. Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, we unless you have more to say, which is cool.
No, that's good.
Let's move to the happy version. So you said you had a bunch of really good shows as Cali Horse, like the newer Cali Horse. Talk about your best show, or what you think is your favorite or best show.
Oh my God.
I think we know what our best show is now.
Well,
maybe.
Okay, so for me, we played River and Sky a few weeks ago, and we did the damn thing. I'll tell you that. Like I never felt so comfortable on stage. I'd never felt so capable of controlling my gear. I mean, I've been on a really long gear journey. I went
so proud of you.
I went from literally not even bringing my own microphone to gigs for 6 years with Kaleidoscope Horse, like literally waltzing up, classic like singer, just like not a care in the world. And I went from that to really wanting to prove to myself, but also genuinely to other people that like, hey, I write this stuff, and other people are playing the parts that I write, and I kind of wanted people to see that like I'm the one writing those things, and I wanted to be able to prove to myself that I could play them live, and that was really hard. I went from not even bringing my own mic to having in-ears, playing guitar, playing synth.
Yeah, you guys are like U2 up there. I know you got a bunch of stuff.
Totally nuts. Like I went from 0 to 100, and I think I did a really good job at adapting that quickly to how big of a change that was, especially from a performance perspective. I was so used to feeling physically very free. And switching to an instrument-based performance style where you're literally like
you're stuck somewhat. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I learned things about myself that I never would have if I hadn't done that. And I'm kind of scaling back now in a way that feels really natural and ready to be freer again, I would say, physically. But I do enjoy everything that I've learned. So anyway, this show that we played at River and Sky, first of all, we rehearsed a lot to do the show. We knew that we were playing right before Soons, which have been one of my favorite bands for like almost 10 years now.
Wow.
So that just felt really good. It felt really good to do that. It was the sunset set. Somehow it was a full moon. This happens all the time. We do stuff on full moons all the time and we do not plan it, which is so strange. But as we were playing, I could see the sky changing, the sun setting, the moon rising, and it all felt very kismet. And I wasn't afraid. I wasn't worried, oh, is something gonna happen? Am I gonna hit a wrong note? I truly was not in like lock, load, fear mode. Let's get it done. Let's perform it properly. I truly felt connected to, I think Brandon and I, our drummer, I think we said it was the first time we actually made eye contact on stage, because he'll look at me or I'll look at him, but it very rarely do we like end up looking at each other at the same time, because Brandon's running the backtracks. He's got in-ears in and he is locked in, right? So he has to focus a lot, and sometimes visually you can't distract yourself, like, or you're gonna fall off the train. But anyway, so we looked at each other, like Sam and I got to vibe out, Cam, our bassist, and I got to vibe out. I just, and honestly, it's funny because I looked back at the videos and it's not even like I felt like I particularly sang better than I normally do or play better than I normally do, but the way that it felt for me trumped times where maybe I performed it more technically accurately.
Right.
And so that was something that I've really been looking for from a live performance.
Just to jump in super quick, just anybody listening to this, you referenced videos. So are there videos of the performance on YouTube or Instagram or anything like that?
We gotta get on that, I guess. I mean, like we shared.
We got told, a couple of people, filmographers, did tell us that they filmed some entire song. So I think we're just waiting on those, like Sean Cosma, or sorry, Bosma.
Yeah, and Will and stuff like that. So anyway, we'll put those up for people to see. And I think what it really proved to me was just that my standard of the way that something sounds will always be high, but the standard for the way that something should feel, that's like kind of constantly fluctuating, and could be higher, I think.
Or like should be the one that's over that.
Oh, more important. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I think I trust myself enough to know that I'm always going to want it to sound good. So like that's never gonna, I'm always going to be chasing that dragon, but the feeling of being present and grounded and like we're truly there when you're on stage, I mean, that's not something that happens every show.
Being
you can't
present.
really plan that,
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about River and Sky, just in general, what the festival is? Like, for example, is it more generally just in the genre that you play, or is it all genres? Where is it in Ontario? It's in Ontario, right?
Yeah, it's like between
Sudbury
and North Bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
it ranges. It's like
it's been going for 16 years.
Oh, 16 years. Yeah. Damn. It's amazing. It's an amazing fest. It's right on like the Sturgeon River, like literally right beside a river that you can go swimming and stuff. They have a little beach zone that you can walk to. Like they've got a lot of things like nailed down. Like it was probably my favorite festival, like for sure, that we've ever played. Like in terms of like a professional, like, okay, like we're gonna take care of you kind of thing. Right.
They fed us all weekend. They provided bedding. Like,
oh, that would be a problem for me. I would roll out of there after the weekend if they fed me. I would just constantly eat.
They are just like, it was so nice. And it's like goes from like folk to like rock to like electronic, like dance, like it does like some of the other like Soons was one of the headliners, so it was like it was like so it was like there was like a grimier-ish rock night, but then like the night before it was like Ruby Waters headline.
Yeah, it sounds fairly broad from what you're saying.
And then like Zones played.
Okay,
know
I don't know Zones
Zones?
actually. No.
Oh, they're so sick.
Okay,
There's
okay.
like, yeah, it's
I'll check them
Psychedelic
Zones.
out.
dance.
Oh.
Psychedelic dance, like electronic. It's really cool.
For people not watching, both of them are dancing as they say that. Okay, well, that sounds great. People obviously have to go check out that festival if they don't know it, or apply if you're a musician for next year.
You can also
Yeah.
volunteer.
Or volunteer.
If you're somebody that like, you want to save on the cost, if you volunteer, you get to go to the festival. So
Right. Yeah,
and they
no, that
always
sounds
need help. So.
yeah, right, exactly. And in general, on that note, support local music.
Yeah.
But let's get to teeter on what will be the worst. First, it's the best.
Okay.
What do you think is the best song you've released
Oh.
that people can listen to?
Okay.
This isn't illegal.
I think I
podcast is illegal.
That's the best
you
part of it. That's why the
honestly-
podcast is good.
honestly, I already know it. It's still the number one. I think in terms of creatively, sonically, and like everything, like emotionally, I'm attached to a few that are like so deep to my heart, like Diary, like
Yeah.
most raw, like and like so much of my favorite music is slower and sad and soft. And that is like that's an aspect I'm always like chasing, and I'm
Mhm.
still trying to fully achieve that sonic world in my head of that place
That
in
balance
like
of
my
those different
universe.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, like what that exactly sounds like, and I love aspects of that. But then in terms of like a song where it's like I would literally do nothing different about it, and it came together like in the most magical way, was In the Water for me.
Okay. Des is nodding.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say Wigs because the thing about Wigs for me is that it's not in 4/4 constantly, which I think is really cool, and the drums are kind of cycling through this beat, and the words are super empowering. I don't think I've ever written a song that's that it's kind of positive in the fact that it's like standing up for yourself, and I think that song as like a rock song will stand the test of time. I think I'm still gonna love it when I'm 80.
If
to
I'm
be
thinking of the
honest.
right song, it's got like this gigantic riff. That's
Yeah,
how I
like-
think about it. Yeah, right from the
Bow
beginning.
down,
nearly.
bow down, bow. You know
Yeah.
who wrote that? Des wrote that.
Hey, there you go.
Des, honestly, some of like my top 5 guitar parts that I love playing are like 3 of them are Des like wrote, and then I like ran with it.
Wow. Well, you're a good pair, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, in the Water, again, like agreed as a recording. It is
I love it.
amazing. It is amazing.
Yeah,
I'm so
like
proud of it. But I think like as just like a song, like
a
Wigs
song.
rips, even if it's like shitty in a garage. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
from a
Yeah.
non-recording perspective, from just like a song perspective, I think Wigs needs less to do what it
Right.
is trying to do.
Well, I thought,
Right.
yeah, again, the riff to me is like you just said in a garage, for example. But if you just took that riff out and placed it in a different thing, that's garage rock already.
Totally.
It
Yeah.
kind of
Oh
sounds
yeah,
like that.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just because of the context that it doesn't sound like garage rock, right? But
Yeah.
no, absolutely. Part of
Yeah,
I really rarely do this, but part of me, maybe I'll add, if you're listening and I added music for these songs, then I'm not lazy and I ended up doing it. Sorry,
That's
were you gonna say
okay
more,
if you
Sam?
don't either. I maybe I was gonna say that, huh? Oh
Well,
yeah,
so-
like a lot of our music is a genre sneakily in there, like disguised in other stuff,
Yeah.
and like a lot of and Wigs is one of our like oldest songs that we've written, and then so there and garagey influences were definitely around then, like and then it's like, but then there'll be like kind of doo-wop disguised in psychedelia, or then like, and then now like our more current stuff is like pop disguised
Right.
in
Industrial.
rock,
Yeah.
disguised in industrial, and the psych elements are still always like within there. I think it would always be like put maybe in that area, but like it's definitely yeah,
I
it's
think the psych element is almost
pop
like
at the core.
the glue that holds the other more disparate genres together. It's sort of like a
Yeah,
background on
totally.
which you can add things.
I
It's
think
it's
also
yeah,
similar to like how punk is not necessarily a sound, it's like an ethos first.
an
I
attitude.
think,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I think that psych, that's kind of how we feel about psych, where it's like,
Mm.
it's an energy, it's the concept that you can go anywhere and do anything and
Right.
fractalize and come back together. And I think that is something that carries through in our music more than maybe like a classic psychedelic sound.
I totally agree. It's just that you have a person, the band has a personality where you feel like at any time you could go explore something. That's the
Totally.
psych that you meet. Yeah, for sure. I totally agree because it doesn't always sound like whatever. When people think psych now, they think like Tame Impala or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
right? Which is
yeah.
great, but it's not really a great parallel to what you do.
Yeah, I think definitely we have a mentality of exploration that I see in I see in all types of music really, but the where we're willing to go with certain things, I think it lends itself to a sort of psychedelic mind frame.
Yeah.
Whereas like maybe pop songs are known to have standards, they have certain structures that
Yeah.
work, and they work for a reason. And I think that where Sam and I are at in our songwriting is that we're feeling less um afraid of being interested in those structures as well.
Mm.
So I'm curious to see like what we're gonna do next. But yeah, I think in terms of best songs, I mean, In the Water for like what it's achieved, but like Wigs for just what it is, no matter what.
For sure. Well, okay. Can I? I'm curious about one thing that you said there. I'm just double checking. So you said you're so excited to see where your music goes because you are now less afraid of those structures. Do you mean explorative structure, or do you mean actually getting back to pop structure and what people are familiar with?
Yeah,
That.
it's what can we create within the structures that people already know and love and are interested in. And the thing is that Sam and I have had a lot of success. We do a lot of covers. I mean, not,
Mm,
necessarily for money, but like we love all types of music, including pop music.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
I got my start in pop music. I was in a pop band for 5 years, almost 6 years, and I love it. I love pop
You
music.
didn't want to choose one of their songs?
I was no, I was so ashamed, honestly, of what I didn't know about music. And now I know that good pop performs in a way that is totally
Genuine.
aware of itself, if that makes
Mm,
sense. It's
mm-hmm.
it's the people that try to make pop that don't know anything about pop and it sounds really shallow and has no depth. That's
Yes.
like unless they're doing that ironically, in which case totally. But I just think that pop is totally misunderstood as a genre, or at least it is to me.
It was to me too.
and
Yeah.
and I think that we're just discovering like what we do like about it.
That
Yeah,
is
because
what
like
I wanted to get to because I think
nice.
there's such a fear, and I've been guilty of it too, fear of uh enjoying pop because you're coming from an alternative or indie, as broad as those terms are, background. It's so funny that there's this mirror thing of like, I bet pop people would be like, I don't really want to do an experimental thing because I'll be judged for not being in pop. It's the same thing, just
It's the
backward.
same thing.
I think that's so
Yeah.
interesting.
And
I
like
just,
my first two CDs as a kid were like Britney Spears and Aqua. Like
totally.
and our current like we both love Chapel Roan. Like
Oh, right.
we
Oh, that's how you
we
say their name. Okay.
yeah.
I was over here
Sam,
like Chappelle.
Sam
That's
was
what
saying
I said.
Chappelle.
Yeah.
And I said, I know, like, yeah, no, I was calling it Chappelle Roan for a while.
Yeah, I love Chappelle Ronan. They're so good.
Ronan. But like we love, but we also love like just all kinds of the Carolina Polachek, is
Oh,
that how you say it?
Caroline
Like,
Polachek
right? Like,
is
you know, like, and that's such like experimental, incredible pop like aspects. And her first band she was in has more indie elements to it too. And like, just, yeah, like we both have always loved like still like pop music, but secretly for a while because
Yeah.
well, not even like secretly, we just genuinely were way more into alternative stuff
Yeah. No, I
when
know
we
what you
met.
mean. Yeah.
But now it's like, actually, I've always like loved those things
Punks or
still. Like,
whatever. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for
I guess
literally, we created this like jokes, like, I don't know, manifestation or something. It was really funny. Like when we started Cali Horse, and this was like within the first year, like we just, I don't know, we make a lot of really weird characters and jokes and stuff. And then we were just like, we was just like, sorry, mom, but I want to be a pop star.
that's our whole. That's yeah. We've
That's
said
that.
that for
We've been pretty much riding that for 3 years.
Right. Right.
So
This
now we're
like
finally making some pop. What we think is our
right.
version of pop. Our version of pop music.
I
Yeah.
think I had to go away from pop
Mm-hmm.
in order to learn way more about all different types of music out there in order to come back to it with a lot more of like an informed opinion even on anything, you know what I mean? And so for me it just feels like it's a coming home, but it's also like I used to see pop as a place full of limitations.
Yeah. As like
Mhm.
kiddie pool depth.
Right,
Literally. Like
but now I'm interested in what limitations can do
Also,
for
production of
yeah.
pop music is
I mean, you
can
can't
be.
deny
You're like,
that for a
holy,
lot of
you
for a lot of
cannot
pop. No, you
deny.
can't
Yeah,
deny that. No,
exactly.
no, no.
Like, so as we explore and get even deeper into our production, experiences, it makes sense that we're like going to like whole like, wow, that sounds. But then also pulling back to like, how does it feel? Because I've heard the difference of something sounding perfectly done by us, and then more feel, and I'm like, somehow the one that's a little imperfect and more. So honestly, riding that
Yep.
line is one of the most difficult things I experience. I'm like, no, it's not good enough. No, it is. It is. It's perfect the way it is. No, it's not good enough.
I
Yeah.
think, when you look at an artist like David Bowie, I mean, he did, he was Ziggy fucking Stardust, and then he grew up a little bit and he made
Like
that's
I
and
was
it's
just
like,
gonna say that
you
one.
know what I
Yes,
mean?
exactly.
And I don't value one phase of his career or version of expression more than another. They served different audiences, but now as somebody, however many years later, when I'm listening to it, like they do different things, and I love that they both exist. So why can't we do that as often, as different, as
Yes.
fluid as we want to be? And I think that's like the exciting part about working with Sam for me, is that I don't ever feel like Sam's expecting me to be anything in particular, and I feel this that we do that
Yeah.
for each other. So like if Sam wants to bring a really like soft, understated thing to the table, that doesn't make Wigs any less us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Yeah.
No.
a different
Exactly.
version of who we are in that very moment.
And
And
we
that's
set those standards early on, and that's very freeing. We were like, no, we do this and this.
Yes.
So now
I
we
also,
can do anything in between.
I think everybody logically knows that anything you do is what you do. So if you as a band decide to put out a pop record, or you decide to put out a rock record or whatever, by virtue of you deciding to put it out, it is what you want to do. But not enough people have the confidence to follow that through, is I guess the thing that I wanted to say, which you guys are doing, which is really good.
I just think that's so ridiculous because every artist that's ever been good ever has pretty much done that. I mean, like,
I completely agree with you, but it's people are ridiculous.
I feel so bad I wish that everyone could see like how special they are and like believe in themselves. And I struggle with that. And that's why it's, I just wish I could go and hug all of them, tell them to release their art.
I mean, but
And I'm telling
also,
you right now, I'm telling anyone who needs to hear that, I'm virtually hugging you. Release your art.
but
It
yeah,
is
be every version of
integral to
yourself.
the universe.
Yeah, be every
Because
version of yourself that you want.
when you release and you feel seen and you put things out into the universe, you just become more of yourself. And that's just better for humanity too.
Well
That being
said. That's
said,
great. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
that being said, because Sam and I are such changeable people, like we're really fluid people and we feel a lot and we feel a lot of different things. I've been really curious personally about artists that focus on one thing or one sound and do that a lot and do it really well and do it for a really long time, and they
Yeah.
carve out this niche that is like just them and just for them. And I do think there's a lot of value in that too. So I mean, if you're that kind of artist, like keep going.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For
Don't
sure.
get tempted by change for change's sake. I think change if it
Yeah.
feels authentic to you, but don't feel like you have to like hop on a trend or like,
No, if you want to be
Yeah, we have
ACDC,
to.
continue to be ACDC.
Yes.
yeah.
It's what you want to
100%.
do. It's what
What will
that's the
resonate the
point.
most?
Yeah.
What will resonate the most, the highest like ripple, is if you genuinely are like the most excited, or at least it feels the most genuine to you, even if it's agonizing, but it's the most genuine thing to you.
Yeah.
That's what you
agree.
gotta bring.
Okay.
And sometimes
well,
it is, yeah.
well, that's all really helpful and nice. So let's end on a sour note and talk about what you
Nice.
think your worst song is. We're at that time.
And it has to be released.
It does have to be released so people can hear it. I'm going to play it at the end of the song anyway, at the end of the podcast anyway.
We only have some type of Electric Lagoon out and Anima.
Then I guess it's going to be a hard choice for you.
I know, because I've honestly thought about this, and it's not because I kind of got through a loophole of the question, maybe.
Some people have done that. Okay, let's see the loophole.
Hey Sam, you go first.
See if this counts.
Sure.
It's not that I don't love like what this song represents to my like my soul expressing itself and my life's journey and a chapter of it, but the actual recording process, the getting it to sound good and then still not even fully, in terms of like all of the changes and the weird, what I thought was like, even though it was genuine, I thought it was not going to translate and I didn't think anyone was going to like it. And I still am surprised when people
you can think you didn't pull off your idea, but other people who had no idea what your full idea was
the thing is this is where the loophole comes in. It did get pulled off for the recording. For sure, all the elements got added, and I love it. But to me, it's still like the process of trying to make it all work and blend each part together. Like when we were doing because we were really hands-on with the first one, like we produced it all ourselves and like mixed it like for the first draft. And then Asher did the final mix. But actually, it was like the biggest, the biggest pain in the ass to record. And so maybe I just need more time, and maybe it just triggers me when I hear it because I'm just like, oh, I don't know. But Eerie Descent.
Eerie Descent, like descent.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is not on the record though.
No, it is. It is.
Oh, I thought you said it was
on
pulled
some
off.
type. No. Sorry.
No, we did pull it off, is what she's saying. Like it
no,
did.
Oh, we did pull it off. We did pull it off.
As in you pulled off the
Sorry.
the trick. Yes.
Well,
I see.
like we did it, but then it's still.
You stuck the landing. That's what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Like only like, but it was so. Yeah. Sorry.
No. It's okay.
Yeah. So honestly, I'd say because it changes to like 5 different parts that are completely kind of shifts in time signatures and tempos. And I just was really kind of, I was really self-conscious of that song. And I didn't want to be, because we got so many amazing features and it's so like it is really explorative, and I'm really glad that we created it and recorded it, because I wouldn't probably do something like that again for a while.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's like the closest
So
that we've ever gotten to of Montreal, like to like the wacky, like
yeah,
excitable
true.
nature. So to
Mm.
me, like I know what you're saying, Sam, and I think that you're right.
If
Um,
out of all the songs, I mean, I don't know what one I would pick, other than that one being the
I mean,
most
I think
difficult.
I honestly I'm gonna offer a counter idea to what you're saying, Sam.
Yes, I'm
Um,
willing to change it.
no, I think please zone hate me for saying this, but I think that motion could have been really straightforward. I think if we made motion now, it would be a lot more straightforward, and I think it would have been like a total fucking banger. But the thing is that you can't put a song, and we talked about doing like a radio edit that takes out the middle section where it drops into this like
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
meditative
yeah, yeah,
thing, and
yeah.
and originally that idea was, we loved that song, and I mean
Mm-hmm.
I do love that song, but like we made that because we saw it as a music video, and so
Uh-huh.
a lot is happening in our minds visually, and that's why we wrote the song the way that it did,
Right.
that it was. But I do think that if we were to want it to be the strongest that it could possibly be, we would have focused more on the strengths of like what the melody and the riffage
We
and
would have done like maybe a verse too.
I mean, yeah, who knows? Who knows? But I do think like as far as Eerie Descent, like yeah, it was a bitch and it was so fucking difficult like to do. And yes, it's like not our favorite in terms of like how it turned out, but it was the idea and it couldn't have been better. I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I am really proud of it,
Yeah.
honestly, like ultimately, but it's the one that makes me maybe the most self-conscious. Either that
Okay.
one or, yeah, I know we're just supposed to pick one, but it's not that I don't love
No,
these
it's a
songs. I think
whatever.
though it's the ones that make me the most self-conscious,
Mm-hmm.
which I would say then maybe could translate to a worst feeling, but like not like, but is Iridescent and Velvet, because I'm very self-conscious of my vocals on that song, and I don't
Huh.
know. uh
No, okay. I mean,
yeah,
that's so
that
interesting that
that's
self.
that's my honest truth. I get very self-conscious of my vocals and
Well,
stuff.
thanks for sharing that, especially because I think people would be surprised to hear that because you both uh, are strong singers, but live, I feel like the vocals are almost one of the selling points, you could argue. Like, it's a huge part of
Yeah,
the show.
yeah, we've remembered that in
Okay.
the last couple years, like, and like again, like kind of going back to like, because like Eerie Descent and stuff, and like Des playing guitar when we came out of some type of Electric Lagoon to play live, it was like, Des, you have to play instruments, because we added like some like this when we sent the stems to Asher. I was
Mhm.
like, what's the maximum for like a final mix amount of stems? He's like
Mhm.
100. And I'm like, I had to scale back to like
Oh,
most of the songs to 100 stems, because there's so many little glitchy sounds
yes.
too, like Foley sounds, like going like beep, just like one thing.
I know what you
But then
mean.
also just like we did like a pre-mix in terms of like choices of when things would be in and out and all that kind of like stuff. But like he did like, we're so thankful for him
Well,
doing that for us.
we're
But
really
yeah,
large
so
fans of like creative mixing. I think a big
Mhm.
strength of what we do musically is that we hear things in a really specific way, and any if somebody's going to mix it, they're not going to mix those things to be like that. I mean, they're going to make it sound balanced, they're going to make it sound even, they're going to bring out the what they think is like what you want to hear. But for Sam and I, that changes kind of from beat to beat what we
Yeah.
think needs to come forward, and that's again part of the psychedelia of it all is how fluid it is.
It's
And
part of what adds so much atmosphere.
yeah, exactly, so we have to do that part, and we love to do that part, a lot of
yeah, but
automation and
yeah,
planning and stuff like that. So
so like yeah, playing all those instruments for that and
Mhm.
trying to achieve those sounds, it felt like okay, Des, like yeah, playing instruments too is making sense. And then we got so like kind of forgot like, oh wait, the vocals, like at first we were kind of trying to rebel against it in a way to be like, we're more than just vocalists. Maybe it felt like some sort of,
Huh.
I don't want to say like, maybe I don't know what the word is, the right word is, like we didn't like stereotypical, being stereotyp because of like being maybe woman, like being like we're more than just singers,
Right.
like
It's the
we're
most
also
common,
like fucking
maybe
music.
popular
Yeah,
music
like it
instrument that
was,
women would be.
yeah,
Yeah, right, right.
like, and it was like we do more than that, and we wanted to show that we do more than that, like just, and also like just feeling drawn to make sounds and everything.
Yeah.
And then in the last couple years, we're like, wait, our
People
vocals
get
are
it.
like
Yeah, people get it
the
now.
strong, like we need to like, let's do, let's do the guilty pleasure covers. Let's make fucking songs that like our vocals just get to be poppy and locked
Yeah.
and like, just kind of focusing on that stuff. So it's like
Oh no, I get that a lot
those,
though. You almost
yeah.
had to prove that, okay, we have this personality that we're capable of creating in our music. Now, I don't mind having to add what you might find stereotypical about me because you no longer will because of the context of what you've
Exactly.
made. Yeah.
Exactly. We wanted to create the bed upon which the vocals lie in a way that felt like we were truly serving like what our musical
Yeah.
minds and hearts were capable of. And we wanted people to appreciate those things and not be distracted by like the shiny, happy object of a nice vocal. And
Yeah.
I think that, also Sam and I aren't really we're not really focused on things just sounding nice anymore too. I mean, like we do love like a nice melody, but we are like expanding vocally to be a little bit more dissonant, a little bit more wilderness, so a little bit more primal, and
Yeah,
that
like
feels like a really
screaming,
thing.
Yeah.
some more
But
screaming in songs
all of it suits
happening.
because of the context that you provided. So it makes sense what
Yeah,
you're
I
saying.
think we've done ourselves a
that's
really
good.
big favor by prioritizing like art for art's sake from the jump, and like we're not products, we're not like a brand. And I mean that has hurt us at times where it's like, oh well, if your branding was a little stronger, if your sound was a little more concise, if like we've gotten all of those sort
Oh
of
yeah.
comments. But I think that ultimately like we make what feels good for us to make at any given moment, and I think that's always served us. I think it's going to serve us longer, like in the long run. So
And
I'm
guess what? You'll be fucking happier as you go through it. And
exactly.
I've said this to other people. It blows me away that artists make concessions about their art when they're not, like, I get if you're Taylor Swift or Harry Styles and you have a bunch of people to answer to, they have literally their careers fall under the umbrella of yours. But for even a locally famous band, even a Canadian famous band, what are you doing sacrificing your sense of your art just to get ahead for a little
Yeah,
longer? It's so,
yeah,
if it doesn't feel empty immediately, it will begin to.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know?
I mean, okay, for instance, um, Living on a Prayer, is that Bon Jovi?
Yeah,
Okay, so this guy has been singing this fucking song for like I have no idea
for
decades,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
Right? But
Oh
I
yeah,
believe I believe that Bon Jovi loves that song.
loves
I
that
believe he
song.
loved it when
You're
he made it.
right.
I believe he loves it to this day. And everybody that is in that crowd that is still going to see Bon Jovi also loves that song. And so, in my opinion, like if you're gonna go up there and friggin' write that song that you love and you're gonna stand on it and you're gonna love it in 20 years, who gives a shit what that sounds like to anybody else?
Yes.
Because you won't be on that stage playing that if you don't have the juice behind it. Like if you're not like, I gotta sing Living on a Prayer, like what are you
Exactly.
doing? Like,
Yeah, he sings it with so much conviction. I believe he's living on a prayer,
you
and
know?
that's the
Yeah,
conviction you need. That's the conviction you need.
we're
Uh,
halfway there.
okay, well, thank you guys very much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it. Sounds like Eerie Descent is the choice.
Yeah.
Okay. So then that's what's gonna play at the end of this episode.
It is it. I'm
No?
torn
Okay.
between. I'm torn. Does you think it's eerie?
Well,
I
both
think
of
it's
you
either
agreed on eerie, and then
I
one
think
of.
it's eerie.
Okay, okay.
I think
Eerie.
final
I was gonna.
answer, it's eerie. I'm glad we talked about the other things, but
The thing is, yeah, I know. It's so funny too because we literally used Eerie as like the song on our post for our record.
Oh, yeah, right. So it's
that's
you
because
would.
it was our manager's favorite song, and it was
At the time, our manager at the time.
and it was our 5th single, which announced the record. So I mean, like,
It had to be like a
Uh-huh.
new song. So then it was that one.
So you could
But
really
it's
frame it as it was your 5th choice for a single. That's how you could frame it.
Alex,
it would have been my ninth.
I think you
It
need
would
to
have been
change
my
the name
ninth.
of your podcast.
Worst choice for a single?
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be what I do when people come back for a second one.
Nice.
Worst single choice.
Nice.
Okay, so does one of you want to take us out? Just state the name of the band again, who you both are, and the name of the song.
We're Cali Horse. I'm Des.
I'm Sam.
And our worst song is
Eerie Descent.
Descent.
Okay, that was perfect. Thank you both very much.